Generic yet polite salutations, folks. This is Trent Mayfair, the itinerant LARPer, coming to you from Mount Shasta in Northern California. And look, first snow of the season. Yeah, no, I'm not taking advantage of that at all. So, let's jump right into it. I actually did end up going to Dying Light, contrary to what I said in my last video, and boy, am I happy that I did. It was a wonderful game. So, I spent most of the weekend in Portland, Oregon with a friend, and yeah, I'm pleading the fifth on that one. As I mentioned, I was initially not going to be attending Dying Light because I heard some really disturbing and horrible things about it from a few people, and it really just goes to show, don't always trust that. Go and check things out for yourself. You never know exactly what you're going to be getting into, who has the jaded opinion, etc. It was truly a wonderful experience, especially given that they had no idea who I was. So I didn't get that celebrity treatment. Like, I basically had to get in on my own roleplay merits and everything like that, which was really nice. The administration in and of itself, they're not the most, coordinated that I've ever seen, but, they definitely do it well enough that they are able to cohesively run the event. There's a number of hiccups or two, but what event doesn't have those? They were tremendously helpful when they knew what they were talking about. There were a few instances of different marshals and GMs giving me different information about the same thing. But, once you bring them together and say, hey, discuss this, figure it out, then give me an answer, you can usually get a legit answer. So, again, they are helpful. You just gotta get them all onto the same page sometimes, and you gotta do that legwork in order to do it. They were very attentive, but they were very focused on player health and coordination than most other LARPs that I've seen. So while one was actually out, setting things up, another would be with the players, and this is kind of the standard format for how these things work. But the way that they were doing it via not just characters, but also out-of-game marshals and stuff to answer any questions that people might have had, that really did make a difference in things. And it was that level of attentiveness that really set them above other LARPs that do a similar thing. Because other LARPs, it tends to just be the marshals that are in the player base and playing their own characters and having their own fun. And then, oh, hey, let's go off on a mod. There was legit coordination going on for this aspect of things via walkie-talkie and stuff like that. So yeah, they definitely have the attentiveness to their players down pat. Definitely top props to them on that one. However, in regards to the rulebook, I read the rulebook before I went there, and I'll admit I walked into this rulebook a bit biased, but when I sat down to read this rulebook, my initial reaction was that it was very hostile. They're trying to be upfront about what their social contract is, but the way that they phrase it is not all that welcoming to people. So as a result, it comes off as very, if you do this, you will be punished. If you do this, you will be penalized. If you do this, you will be banned. If you do this, we'll call the authorities. And it's not incorrect. It just comes off as rather hostile. And again, it's all in how you phrase things. I did especially like their no poaching rule, which basically was worded in such a way as to potentially make posting this video grounds for me getting banned from the game for life. I have had that happen to me at a booth at a Renaissance fair. I won't go into the story, but I've never actually been whole site banned. So I am curious to see if they actually hold up with that rule if they don't like what I'm saying here. I doubt they will, because they really were just such an open-minded, welcoming group of people, and nothing like what I had heard about. Getting rid of your toxic players does breed some ill intent, and they are going to badmouth you, but in the long run, it's really for the best. So, it's a long rulebook, and it's a good reminder that making too many rules and skills ends up with everybody being confused. Uh, I heard a lot of pauses for clarification of what things do, even from veteran players. And when you have the veteran players basically sitting there going, wait, hang on, what does that do again? That might be a little bit of an issue. I'm not saying make less skills or anything like that, but make skills simpler, make them easier named. Don't reuse words amongst different skills. Various things like that really help to clear up the confusion. If you have protect other and protect versus, and each one does something completely different, people are going to get very confused about what they can do until they actually get used to it after, I don't know, 20 uses or so, give or take. Like, and the more that you add with the same name, the more that you have this problem. Um, There was also a bit of cyclical redundancy in the rulebook. I did point all these things out. The GM and the marshals are going to be sitting down, going through everything, and they're going to try to take out some of those cyclical redundancies and stuff. Hey, check out the new player guide. Read through the first couple paragraphs. Okay, now read the core rulebook. But so yeah. Um, Now, insofar as the diversity of the characters, um, there are more than enough skills and standardized items that anything can be made. Any type of character that you want to make, you can make it. But there is a certain repetition in the skill names, as I said. Um, and even when seen in action, they can still really get confusing. And while the characters can be very diverse, an individual must know their skills really, really well to make the most out of the class and the most utility out of their character for the group. So, that being said, the player base in and of itself was extraordinarily open-minded and accepting of all, except for, obviously, the toxic people, those looking to troll the game. Um, uh, the new player treatment is a little bit different than what I've seen at other games. Um, this group comes off as being a very enclosed clique unto itself, uh, but it's actually not. Um, this is a group of very close friends. They all hang out outside a game. This is not the only time they see each other. They're all, kind of local, and as a result of this, they have very deep bonds of friendship, and they are more than happy to bring other people into their fold, providing that those people are going to be healthy for the group as a whole. And so if you approach without harboring ill intent, yeah, you can get accepted into the fold fairly easily. Um, you know, and again, because of the level of friendship that this group has, they're all very comfortable with physical contact with one another. But they are not afraid to, go up to somebody and say, hey, do you need a hug? Very, very nice, comforting, welcoming group. It's just a little daunting, might be the best word, to try and come into this group just because they are so close knit with one another. It feels like you're intruding. It feels like you're getting in the way of things. It feels like you're the interloper, but they really do not see it that way. They are compassionate and understanding about all of these things. Now, insofar as the immersion level of the game, um, they were incredibly immersed to the point where staff has individuals who are trained towards helping people cope with some of the mental issues that come up from stepping so deeply into another persona, what's commonly called bleed, when you can't quite draw that line between character and real life, and you are feeling it instead of your character is feeling it. And that can be an issue. LARPs deal with a lot of things that we do not normally handle in real life. It can be somewhat traumatizing in some cases, and it should be traumatizing to the character, not to the player. And they are very attentive to this idea. And as I said, they have trained staff to help people deal with this. If you do go to this game, leave yourself behind, go all in. They can handle it, and they'll welcome others to bring it to that level. Now, insofar as the overall experience, what I learned from observing the game is, okay, admittedly, I was rather distracted this game and wasn't paying quite as much attention as I should have. Um, I do recall, however, witnessing something that I've seen in other games, and I feel like I, should bring it up at some point. But I think I'm going to do it in a separate video later this week, because it's really dealing more with the etiquette that new players should be paying attention to and what they should be bringing into the game. Uh, and as I said, I'm going to release another video that covers that because that's going to be a long topic in and of itself. Um, what I learned from the players is just how important those external bonding activities actually are to a cohesive player base, as opposed to just coming in for the game itself. It promotes friendships to just come into the game, but when you have those external activities, you get true bonds of friendship outside of the parameters of the world that they are playing in that allow people to be able to take things to the next level because they get that sense of comfort. Um, what I learned from the GMs is a reinforcement on the importance of being dynamically responsive to the players. Um, you know, give, give the players a good time. It's all about their entertainment, but bring them to the point of death. Don't actually seek to kill them. Don't send waves until they're dead, just enough to make them fear for their lives. This is apparently like a GM secret, but I feel that everybody knows it. Any given player at a LARP should be afraid for their character's life. That's part of what makes it exciting. If you don't have that threat in an action LARP, then what's the point? You're not actually accomplishing anything. It's literally just people running around and talking to each other. The threats are what make things interesting. They are what make the true story and give the foil for the players to be the heroes for. So, these are my impressions of Dying Light. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next weekend at, oh my, where am I going to be? Oh yes, Twin Mask in San Diego, California. I'll see you there.